Hey guys, so today this video is going to be on my top tips on how to be a successful vendor. I'm not even going to bother with introductions and things like that. The first thing that you're going to want to do is look for vending events. Obviously, if you are just starting out, then you probably want to stay under $60. There are so many vending events that are $20 to $40 and are a really good place for you to start out doing your first vending events. So don't worry about paying $60 plus $100, $200 for vending a booth. The main thing that you're gonna look for when you are trying to find a vending event is to see how many people are actually interested on their Facebook event. Facebook events are kind of big because this is like the best way to advertise your event. So if the vending event director is actually doing a good job and is actually prepared, they will have lots of marketing on Facebook and probably some local newspapers, but I would focus more on Facebook. If there's not more than 50 people interested in going, it's probably not worth going to. Usually you'll be wanting to look for 50 to 300 people interested. That's a good amount for a beginner. If you have an art page, this is a great opportunity to share and advertise for the vending event too. A lot of vendors do this. So if you have a business page, definitely make a little flyer of your own and share the details and let people know that you will be there. This is a great opportunity for your followers and your clients and customers to actually come and look at your pieces in real life, and a lot of people will jump on board. So definitely take the time to just make a little flyer. I like to use WordSwag, which is an amazing app that has so many fonts and different options. You can use free images off of there, and it's really quick and easy to make a simple flyer with all the details on there. So next I'm going to be talking about what you should be bringing to your vending event. A lot of first-time vendors will get really caught up in having like everything perfect, and it's okay if your vending event isn't perfect. To be honest, my first vending event was kind of crap. I did not have a really good setup, and I didn't have anywhere to put my paintings. My paintings kept blowing off my display, and it was just really bad. I actually ended up packing up early and I left that event. I didn't end up making any sales because I didn't look into how many people were actually coming to the event. I didn't look at the marketing for that event on their Facebook page. If I had, then I would have noticed that there was only like 30 people interested in there, and so there was no foot traffic, and then it didn't help that my booth really wasn't that great. So I'm going to be sharing how I do my vending event, and most of these things are really budget friendly, and I am all about saving money, so these are going to be some really good tips for vendors that are just starting out. Number one, bring a table. Bring 2 tables if you have enough inventory. It's okay if you don't have enough inventory, but definitely bring 1 to 2 tables. And I like to put my 2 tables as an L so that people can walk around. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different booth options. If you have even 3 tables, you can do like a U shape. There are a lot of options on Pinterest. If you just type in vendor booth layouts, you can find so many different ideas, but I personally like the L shape. In my opinion, bringing good chairs is kind of a big thing. I love to shop locally, so I'm always going to vending events, and that is kind of a huge thing that I notice. If you have like really cheap folding chairs or lawn chairs or just different, like they can be tacky and they don't always go with your booth setup. I actually just bring my regular kitchen chairs, which are Eiffel chair styles, I believe they're called. But and then I just throw like a little fur coat over the back, and it makes it look really classy and really nice, and a lot better than like a lawn chair or a fold-out chair. Okay, next up is tablecloths, because believe it or not, that is really important. Amazon has a lot of amazing options. I will link everything below, but one of my favorites is the ones that actually fold over, and they're a fitted tablecloth. This is amazing if you do outdoor vending events a lot because the wind can't blow it away, and you don't have to worry about taping it or trying to figure out how to keep it from blowing all of your pieces over. It actually just fits over like a fitted sheet. Or you can go a step further. If you are really on a budget, you could actually use like a twin size black or white fitted sheet, and that'll fit right over like a 6-foot table. I would make sure that your tablecloth is either black or white. Any other colors will distract from the actual pieces themselves. I went to beauty school and you were actually only allowed to wear black with a little bit of white in your uniform, because if you were cutting someone's hair or you were coloring someone's hair, your clothing will actually mess with how you see their color and it could actually come out wrong. This is the same exact way in vending events, because if you have a bright blue tablecloth, your pieces are just going to get lost in there. You're not going to be able to see their true colors, and it's kind of going to be a distraction. People are going to be looking at your tablecloth more than they're actually going to be looking at your pieces. So it's super important that you actually have a white or a black tablecloth, because it'll make it look really classy and your pieces will stand out even more. One of my biggest pieces of advice for anybody who's just starting to do vending events is do not invest in one of those huge wire racks if you are an artist. If you sell paintings or things that need to be hung up, don't invest in a wire rack. Those things are $200 to $600, and you are just starting out doing vending events. You don't know if you're going to end up liking the vending events, you don't know if you're going to be good at them, and you don't know if you're going to continue doing them. Don't invest in anything if you've only done 3 to 5 vending events, because you're really not going to know if you're going to enjoy it, and it's not worth it at that point. After you have a few vending events under your belt, then you can kind of decide if you want to start making the investments. A wire rack is amazing for holding paintings, but it's definitely not needed. Some more budget-friendly ideas for displaying your paintings would be actual room dividers. So, one of my first vending events, I went to the thrift shop and I found a divider that had a paper back, and I was just able to push some hooks through there, and it looked great. It was $8 at the thrift shop. Like, you could find so many ideas. I know Walmart sells them for like $20 to $30, and they actually look really nice. You can put hooks into them and display your paintings like that. That would be a better idea than investing in a $200 to $600 piece to display your items on. One of the more common questions that I see is, how much inventory should I bring? I bring a little extra so that if I do start selling out of my stuff, I can start replacing them with more things, but not too much, because if you leave some spaces empty, it actually gives the appearance that you were selling more. So don't get too caught up in putting out a bunch of stuff. If somebody decides to buy something, then don't even worry about replacing it until a little bit later, and then you can kind of restock your item. People are going to notice the pieces missing, and they're going to think that you have a lot of business coming in, even if you don't. So those are the basic display items that you will really only need for your booth. The other things will be a sign and business cards. And if you watched my last video on how to be a full-time artist, you know that I talked about how important business cards are. I will leave a link below to Vistaprint with a promo code that will get you 20% off of your business cards. But that is a huge thing, because even if someone isn't interested in currently buying what you have in stock, chances are they will still want to buy something from you in the future, or commission a piece if you don't have that item in the color that they want or the style that they want or whatever. Business cards make you look more professional. It makes you look like a real business, which you are if you're going to vending events. It makes you look more put together, and it gives people an opportunity to follow you on social media after the fact, or to purchase commission pieces and custom work. One of the biggest mistakes that I made with my first vending events was not having a sign on anything. I didn't have price tags, I didn't have descriptions, I didn't have information, and I didn't have a banner. This caused a huge problem for me because people didn't know what I did. It actually makes sense, because if you go to a vending event, you don't even have to buy anything, just scope the place out. Everybody has a banner, and if they don't, chances are you don't really know what they do. I just went to a vending event this last week, and there was a booth that didn't have any sort of banner, didn't have any information as to what they did, and it made me not want to buy from them because I had no idea what their business name was, what they sold, what they did, what their ingredients were, what any of their information was, and so I didn't end up buying from them. I will leave the actual link below, but bannersonthecheap.com does super cheap banners. This is an investment that you will want to make, because I think it cost me $15 for my banner, and it was such good quality. The colors were great, the font was great, like everything was perfect. It cost me $15, and that includes shipping. So definitely think about getting a banner for your next vending event, because it will make you look so much more professional, and people will be automatically drawn to your booth more. So next I'm going to be talking about how you can attract customers to come to your booth, because chances are there's going to be a lot of vendors there, so why should they stop at yours? Some of my favorite ideas to drive in traffic is by making a U booth. Yes, my favorite booth is an L-shaped one, but a U-shaped one makes people walk into your booth. Another idea is to put out a bowl of candy or mints, or if it's around Christmas time, you can do like Christmas candy canes and things like that. But people actually stop more and they take the candy. And actually this last time, I had a bowl of candy that was left over from Halloween, and a little kid took a piece of candy. They brought their mom back, and I ended up making my biggest sale. Think about doing a giveaway or a raffle. This makes people want to buy things, sign up for things. You can choose how you want to do this. I mostly just go with, you know, if you take a picture of my booth and post on Instagram, use the hashtag Ariel Little Artist, then you automatically get put into my drawing to win this whatever. Another one you can do if you're really into like emails, like newsletters and things like that, if you want them to follow you on Facebook, or you can do the giveaway right there at the event and just announce it at the end. There are so many ways to conduct this, but my favorite way is to just have them fill out their name and their information so I can get in contact with them if they win, and then also have additional entries available every time they purchase something. There is no price minimum and there's no price max. This could even mean get an additional 5 or 10 entries every time you purchase something from my booth. This works amazing as it makes people want to buy more of your stuff and they get entered into your giveaway. So next I will be talking about the customer service behind being a vendor. You will definitely want to pay attention how you present yourself, because a lot of people will just show up in like a t-shirt and jeans, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should be comfortable in the clothes that you wear, but just make sure that you're presentable. You are representing your business, so it's important that you dress accordingly. Take a minute and think about how you want your customers to think of you as. Remember that you attract the audience that you want. So most of the time with my hair, I will attract a younger crowd, or if I do attract older people, they always have to ask me about my hair. I do represent myself in a more professional way, but also in a laid-back way so that people feel like they can approach me. Nobody likes to be poked at and asked about when they are shopping. I hate that. It is equivalent to walking through the store and having one of those booths who interrupt your shopping and say, "Hey, are you interested in buying this insurance?" Or, "Hey, are you interested in signing up for this phone service? Let me take 10 minutes out of your day and tell you about this, even though you don't want to hear it." Or going into a place like Plato's Closet or Sephora or Ulta or wherever you want to go, and you have all these employees almost follow you around. It's irritating. At least to me. Like, it's nice knowing that there's someone there who will help you if you have any questions, but most of the time I know what I'm looking for, and I don't really want you following me around asking if you can help me with anything. The same thing applies to vending events. People usually know what they want. I just went to a vegan market this last weekend, and I knew exactly what I was looking for, and it was for vegan snacks. But then I had so many vendors just like, "Are you interested in my soap? Are you interested in these purses?" And I wasn't, because I knew what I was looking for. The best thing to do is just to be friendly. Say hi, how are you? Tell them if they have any questions and to let you know, or you can try to make small talk. Ask them if they're shopping for themselves or if they're shopping for family members. If it's Christmas time, ask them, "So are you doing Christmas shopping or shopping for yourself?" If you work with a specific type of art, like I do fluid and abstract art, most of the time I will ask them, "Have you heard of acrylic pouring, or have you heard of fluid art, or whatever?" And most of the time they'll say no, so I take a minute to explain it to them if they seem interested. The next thing would be to get to know your neighbors around you. This is really important because a lot of the times the vendors have a lot of information and a lot of wisdom to share with you, because chances are they've been doing this for a lot longer than you have. Actually, I made the effort to go and talk to another vendor, and I ended up collaborating with her because she runs a line of clothing, and now I was able to get my art on her clothing just because I introduced myself. So take a minute to introduce yourself to your neighbors and to ask them if they have any advice, ask them how long they've been doing this, just get to know them. And most of the time they're really nice and they're really friendly. Standing. Oh my goodness. Stand at your booth. This is the most important information that I can give you, because so many people will just sit down at their booth, and unless you have a high bar stool, you should not be sitting. If there's nobody around, then go ahead and have a sit. Or it's better to have an assistant or somebody with you, a friend, so that you can take a lunch break or a smoke break or whatever, a rest break. But if you don't have anyone, then only sit down when there's nobody really around. Otherwise, you need to be standing. This is huge. I did a vending event this last summer, and I was placed right across from another fellow artist. There were a lot of problems with this because he didn't have any sort of display. He didn't have a tablecloth. It was just a folding table, and he had his paintings just lined up outside his table. I sometimes line my paintings out outside my table if I don't have enough room on my display rack. Other than that, there should be some type of displays, even if it's just those little plastic holders from Walmart that you can put them on and display them nicely and upright. But that wasn't the issue. The issue was that he was sitting the entire time. When you sit, it almost makes you invisible. People don't really notice you, and especially if you're doing something like eating your lunch at your table or texting or drawing or whatever, they're gonna feel like they're interrupting you because you don't seem very approachable. Likewise, if you're sitting down, they're not really gonna notice you, and they're not gonna really think that they can approach you or ask questions. So it's super important that you stand. I watched this man sit the entire time. I watched him be on his phone the entire time, and I watched him eat his lunch at his table. And he did not make a single sale. And you know what? That was my biggest, most profitable vending event I've ever had. And it was because I was standing, because I was friendly, because I knew how to display my items, that I was able to make the most out of all of the vendors. It was really, really sad watching him pack up his stuff early because he wasn't making any sales and 6 hours had already passed. I'm telling you this story so that you can understand how important it is to actually stand and to pay attention to your customers instead of your phone. Standing around waiting at a vending event and waiting for customers can be kind of boring. So definitely turn on some music if there's not already music playing. Even if there is already music playing, play some music louder from your vending event if you're allowed to. Around Christmas time, I love to just play some like Michael Bublé Christmas music or some classic Christmas music. Other than that, I usually just have like classic rock on because everybody knows classic rock. Older people will definitely appreciate that, and a lot of the younger generation still listens to classic rock too. It's a very versatile genre. You know, it's not dirty music, it's not rap music, it's not crazy electronic music. Everybody likes classic rock, so that's usually what I have playing in my booth. It makes people actually more drawn to my booth, and it keeps me in higher spirits throughout the day. Another favorite way of mine to get people into my booth is surprise bags. Usually these are about $5 each. I call them my surprise grab bags. These are anything that hasn't really sold, have been in stock for too long, or I just don't really have any use for them. This one has a necklace in there or a pendant. Sometimes I include their chains. I make a variety of different items, a lot of functional art. I have pop sockets in this one. I have sometimes keychains, bookmarks, just different little things. But yeah, it's a really good way to get through or inventory that hasn't sold, and then it's a really good way to just make sales because people love surprise bags. Make sure that you have price tags on most things, even if it's just a general thing. Most of the time, since I offer like functional art, so I have like a lot of coasters and serving boards and trays and things like that, I will just say $10 for all jewelry, $15 for coasters, $20 for vases. So you don't have to price each of them individually if you don't want to. Most of the time I keep things very, very general. I upcycle vinyl records, so I have an entire table dedicated to just vinyl records that I've painted on, and I just have a sign on there that says all vinyl records are $30. The things I do price diligently are my canvases, since there's such a variety in sizes. Most of the time I'll include their name, the size, the medium, and the price. One of my more bigger successes was actually putting signs on each table and saying under $20. This entire table is under $20. Or this entire table is under $50. This works great because when people are looking at your things and they're kind of just browsing through your items, you can say, and by the way, this entire table is under $20, or this entire table is under $10 or $50. Most of the time that's about people's budget, so they'll kind of want to like inspect and look more at your items if they know that there's a cap price. Draw in more business and I guess attention from either your followers or your clients or your customers, or just even like visitors from the vending event by doing a live demonstration. This may only work for some people. if you like sew or something, then that's not gonna really work. But if you're an artist, or you make signs, or you embroider, things like that, pottery, so many different options that you can do a live demonstration. You can also post this on your social media and say, I will be doing a live demonstration at 2 p.m. at my vending event. And that'll really drive in traffic and make people want to see how you make what you make, whatever it is that you make. This will also drive in traffic from just customers at the vending event, because they will want to see and check out what you're doing and how you do it. And finally, my last tip would be, when it starts getting towards the end, probably about an hour and a half before the event actually ends, go ahead and start lowering your prices. You can do this by telling your customers this is buy one get one free, or this is buy two for $15, or whatever. This helps you get rid of inventory, and it makes people want to buy more because it's a deal and it's a sale, and people love sales. So that is my top tips on how to run a successful vending event. If you thought this video was helpful, then give a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more about social media marketing, selling locally, just how to be a full-time artist or crafter, definitely subscribe. And if you have any questions, I will try my best to answer them in the comments. Thanks for watching.